Hello viewers, welcome to my channel The Crime Stories. What if you suddenly get a message in which it is written that so much money has disappeared from your credit card, and when you go to complain about it in cybercrime, they too are not able to find out anything about it? Today's story is also about one such person who stole the credit card information of 170 million people using just one laptop. And this information was sold in every corner of the world. This entire theft was done through a genius hacking which shook the foundation of the whole America. All this credit card information was stolen from the biggest corporate company of America, after which this hacker was caught by the FBI. But then he played such a game with the American authorities which they could not even think of. And this hacking became the biggest hacking in the world. So who is this genius hacker after all? How did he steal the information of these credit cards, and what did he do with them? And even after getting the hands of the FBI, what game did he play about which no one came to know anything? This is our story for today. On the evening of July 2005, a 24-year-old boy was sitting in his room in Miami and was working on his laptop. He was neither playing games nor browsing the internet on this laptop, but he was preparing a plan on this laptop which was going to change everything forever. The most shocking thing was that during the day this person used to work for the U.S. Secret Service, in which he used to help them in catching hackers and cybercriminals, and by night he himself became a hacker. This person was not planning any small theft. Rather, he was going to directly target the backbone of America, that is financial companies, which made him the most wanted hacker in the world. This is the story of Albert Gonzalez, who was born in Cuba in 1981. After spending some early years of his life in Cuba, he went to America with his parents, where he started studying in a school in South Miami, where most of the children of his age liked to play volleyball and water surfing. Albert liked to spend most of his time on computers. He would often go to his neighbors' and friends' houses and spend hours sitting on their computers. His greatest interest was that he wanted to learn every technology that came in computers. Seeing this interest of his parents got him a new computer so that he could do his schoolwork and also play video games. Albert was now 12 years old, and since he was very happy to get this new computer, he started spending most of his time on this computer. On the other hand, Albert's parents also felt that Albert was doing his schoolwork and playing video games on this computer, but they were unaware of the fact that his steps were moving towards a world of computers about which very few people knew at that time, and that was hacking. Now, 2 years had passed since Albert started using computers, and he was 14 years old. Then he did something that changed his life forever, and he never looked back. At the age of just 14, he joined NASA. He hacked the server, and when NASA's IT department discovered the breach, they immediately informed the FBI and law enforcement agencies. The FBI and law enforcement agencies assumed that the person responsible for this hacking was from another country, targeting America's national security. But when they traced the hacking, they found out it was carried out by a 14-year-old child from his room in his house in Miami. When the FBI reached Albert's school, they were surprised to see how a mere 14-year-old child could be such a genius. He was sent to the juvenile detention center for a few months. If it was any other child, after this punishment, he would have left his computer hacking hobby forever. But Albert was different. He was a genius, unlike other children. He started working on his hacking skills again without considering the trouble he could get into. Meanwhile, Albert got hold of some computer, which proved to be a turning point in his life. It transformed him from a child into a genius hacker who was about to execute a multi-million-dollar fraud. Albert was still in high school when he discovered IRC, where internet users could talk to each other. From there, his conversations with hackers began in the chat room. He started spending hours in these chat rooms, asking other hackers how to hack the internet security of different companies. At the same time, he spent all his time learning advanced hacking skills. Gradually, Albert's hacking group started forming on the internet. They would talk about hacking and help each other learn. By 1999, Albert had completed his high school at South Miami High School. After that, he first met a person named Stephen Watt. Stephen was also a hacker he met in the chat room of the IRC website. After this meeting, both of them started hacking with different computers. They began experimenting to improve their hacking skills, unaware that they would later become partners and become the biggest hackers in America by stealing the credit card information of 170 million people. After completing high school from South Miami School, Albert applied to many different colleges, after which he got admission in Miami College. Where other children of his batch were enjoying college life, Albert's entire focus was on only one thing, and that was hacking. He neither partied with his friends nor went to watch movies, and leaving all this, he brought a book of advanced programming languages from the bookstore. These were the books in which programming languages were written and by using which different internet services could be hacked and free internet could be used. By using these books, Albert also learned this art and started using free internet, about which no one came to know anything. But after a few months, Albert started realizing that he could do much bigger things with his hacking. Now Albert started learning and understanding how big companies and their digital systems work, and this was the first step towards that hacking which was going to shake the foundation of the whole of America. Although after taking admission in Miami College, he had chosen computer programming as his subject, but very soon he started understanding that whatever he was being taught in college, like programming language and coding, he already knew all this. And since he was not getting to learn anything new here, he dropped out from Miami College. Now the most important question in front of Albert was that, what would he do next in his life? And he knew very well that there is no opportunity in Miami for a genius like him, so he decided to leave Miami and shift to New York. By staying in New York, he could make his hacking skills even better, and that is why, as soon as he shifted there, he started working in a software company. But his job did not last long because due to losses, his company got shut down. Albert wanted to work with a bigger company now, and very soon, his dream was fulfilled because after some time, he got a job in Seamus' company. It had been only a few months since he started working with Seamus that he had to leave this company out of compulsion, because in 2002, Seamus had all its employees in New York. He had to find a way to earn money for himself as soon as possible, or else he would end up on the street, and from here, he decides that he will make hacking his full-time profession. Because Albert had many years of experience in hacking internet services, that is why he decides that he will join Shadow Crew. Shadow Crew was a platform on the internet where hackers and cybercriminals could talk to each other and buy and sell illegal services like stolen credit card information. Every illegal information was bought and sold on this platform, which was used to carry out any cybercrime, and Albert had understood that he could earn a lot of money from here. Shortly after joining Shadow Crew, all the members started to understand what Albert could do with his hacking skills and knowledge, and this was the reason why he was made one of the leaders of Shadow Crew. Albert very quickly started earning money from stolen credit card information, but in 2003 he was arrested when he was withdrawing money from an ATM using different fake credit cards. He was completely unaware of the fact that an undercover agent of NYPD was keeping an eye on him and his illegal activities all the time, and as soon as he was convinced that Albert was using fake credit cards, he arrested him. NYPD was thinking that Albert was alone carrying out this credit card fraud using his hacking skills, but the revelations that came in front of them during the investigation shook them. During the investigation, NYPD came to know that Albert is not an ordinary hacker or fraudster, but he is one of the leaders of a dangerous platform like Shady Crew, and it is revealed that this normal case became a special case. Now NYPD takes Albert into custody and starts questioning him very closely so that they can extract as much information as possible about Shadow Crew. They were repeatedly threatening Albert with a long sentence, but Albert was very smart, and at that very moment an idea comes to his mind, after which he makes a deal with the police because he did not want to put his hacking career at stake at any cost. That is why he tells the police that if they do not register any criminal case against him, then he will become their informer and will help them in catching hackers and cybercriminals. But the police was unaware of the fact that this is a trick of Albert, which is going to cost them a lot in the future. However, the police agrees to this deal of Albert, and he is hired as an informer for Operation Firewall. On one hand, the government agencies felt that they have found an excellent hacker with whose help they will be able to deal with cybercrime. On the other hand, Albert starts preparing to double-cross them with the help of the police. Albert's plan behind doing this was that he wanted to know how the cybercrime department works and what kind of cybercrimes the government agencies know about. In the eyes of the police, he was helping them, but at the same time, he was carefully understanding their every pattern and movement so that he could deceive them during his fraud operations. Albert's criminal mind was now working very fast, and for his own benefit, he started making friends with government agents so that no one suspects him because Albert was forced to help the government agencies, and he did not want to betray his hacking group, and to deal with this, he found a unique way. Later in his statement, he also said that he was always loyal to his hacking community and could never betray them. However, to make the police believe in him, he also helped them in catching some cybercriminals, and in the year 2004, on the basis of his information, the police arrested some members of Shadow Crew. After these arrests, the members of the Shadow Crew began to understand that maybe a hacker among them is giving all the information to the police, due to which everyone is getting caught one by one, and when they came to know that there is only one Albert against whom the police is not taking any action, then it did not take them long to understand that Albert is behind all this. The police now began to fear that the members of the Shadow Crew may harm Albert, so they tell Albert to go back to his city, Miami. Albert, seeing the danger to his life, also goes back to Miami and decides that now he will carry out his hacking from there. After returning to Miami, Albert starts studying the wireless networks of big companies. At the same time, he also begins looking for ways to hack these networks. By now, the year 2004 had arrived, and this was a period when the internet was spreading very fast. People were talking about it, and every company was making itself aware of the potential dangers. Although companies were working to bring themselves online, they were neither paying attention to security nor to the risks involved. This was a shortcoming that Albert knew very well. Now, Albert started working on a technique called wild driving. This was a cybercrime method where hackers would take a van inside the parking lot of the company they intended to hack. Inside this van, there was a computer setup and high-power radio antennas. Using these, the hackers would hack the Wi-Fi signals of the companies. Then, using these signals, they would reach the servers of those companies where business information worth billions of dollars was stored. Albert knew very well that within just a few minutes, he could access this billion-dollar information. However, he was going to need a team for this. And from here begins Albert's gang, which carried out the hacking of million-dollar credit cards. This gang was named Get Rich and Die Tryin', a name taken from a music album by 50 Cent. The sole motive of this gang was to hack the databases of companies, steal the credit card information of customers, and earn millions of dollars by selling this information. The first hacker to join this gang was Stephen Watts, and the second was Christopher Scott. Albert met both of these hackers in an IRC chat room. He had done some hacking with them earlier and trusted them completely. You will be surprised to know that within just a few months, Albert had stolen the information of more than 400K credit cards, using the wood driving technique. He had stolen this credit card information from companies like Dad and BJ's Wholesale Club. After stealing this information, he gave it to his two partners, Stephen and Christopher, whose job was to withdraw money from these credit cards through ATMs and sell this credit card information. The most shocking thing was that along with running this hacking gang, Albert was also working for the government, and the government had started paying him a salary as an informer. Although his salary was very low, his lifestyle was just like a rich businessman, and this was the reason that he would buy a new car every month, and there was no luxury hotel in Miami where he had not gone. He often started going to expensive restaurants and clubs where he would spend thousands of dollars in one go, and the limit was crossed when he organized his birthday party where he spent $10,000. He started giving parties to his friends in Manhattan's penthouses and started calling Miami's famous DJ Oscar and Ralph Falcon to New York by plane so that they could play DJ at his party. In 2005, he went to a music concert in South Beach, Miami for the first time with his friends. But after reaching there, he got into a fight with a bouncer because he had asked Albert to stand in line, and at the same time he was hiding in the bathroom to do drugs. Albert tells his friends that this place is not up to their standards, and in the same year they again reach South Beach where they book the entire club and party according to their wish. In this party, there were all kinds of drinks and shakes in which drugs were mixed and consumed, and this was a new world and a new experience for Albert which he had never seen before. Anyway, Albert now often started going to New York to meet his gang member Stephen Watt so that they could do something bigger than this. Stephen used to work in the IT department of Morgan Stanley during the day, and at night he used to sell stolen credit card information. At the same time, Christopher Scott and Albert were doing something together so that the police would not suspect them and their fraud operation could continue. Albert knew which hackers the Secret Service was keeping an eye on, and together with Scott, he started getting these hackers caught. Albert and Scott used to sell the card information of those companies to these hackers on which the investigation of stolen cards was already going on, and due to this, the Secret Service was able to trace these hackers and catch them. Gradually, Albert now starts feeling that he is not able to steal so much information with the wide driving technique and, day by day it was becoming less challenging for him. Now, he wanted to do something that could challenge him, and at the same time, he was also bored with his government job. From here, he starts working on a new technique called SQL injection. SQL was a programming language with the help of which commercial websites exchanged data with each other. And here, Albert sees the opportunity through which he could steal information worth millions of dollars in one click while sitting, and that too without going to the parking lot. With the help of this technique, Albert could reach the server of any company anytime, and for this, he did not even need to go to the parking lot because now he could do this sitting from any corner of the world. To use this new technique, Albert included another hacker in his gang whose name was Patrick Toy. Now, Patrick started writing hacking codes along with Stephen in which both of them added 20 different encrypted IP addresses so that no one could know about their location. Now, Albert and Patrick started studying Fortune 500. That is, the 500 biggest companies in the world so that they could choose one of these companies and make it their target. It was a part of their plan that before hacking any company, they would find out all the important information about it, like the computer system and the technology used in it, and then hack its entire database through the company website. In this hacking, they would steal the details of the customer's credit cards and then download it using malware. In this hacking, all this data would be stolen so cleanly that by the time the company's systems could detect it, all this data would have been hacked. And after hacking, they also erased their digital footprint so that no one could reach them. The most surprising thing was that they also installed invisible back doors in these servers, so that they could steal the credit card information from here again. By the end of 2007, Albert and his gang had stolen the information of about 50 million credit cards, and they had extracted this information by hacking companies like Target, TJ1, OfficeMax, and Banch. But this was just the beginning, and later they were going to steal the information of 120 million credit cards more. Albert's hacking gang was able to do all this so easily because the companies were either not working on security measures, or even if they were working, the security was not so strong that it could be saved from hackers. Albert was now becoming a big name in the world of hacking, and he decided that now he will form an international cartel for which he contacted Ukrainian hacker Maxim Ostromsky. Maxim's job was to sell this stolen credit card information in Asia, Europe, and Russia, and he brought two more hackers with him who used to steal the information of credit cards of Europe. This hacking cartel of Albert was carrying out hacking on such a large scale that by this time he had become the world's largest hacking cartel. But then in 2008, something happened due to which this entire cartel was caught. In the summer of 2008, Albert and Stephen were returning from Miami to New York, when as soon as they got out of the airport, a sports car started chasing them. Secret Service agents were sitting in this car, and as soon as Albert and his companions got a hint of this, they drove fast and fled from there and left for Stephen's house. Albert now understood that he had come under the police's radar, and he could be caught any time, and his fear proved right. The police now started looking for Albert vigorously, and a few weeks after the airport chase, in May 2008, Albert and Stephen were arrested from a luxury hotel. The Secret Service agents who arrested these two also found a pistol, 2 laptops, and $25,000 cash from the spot, but this was a very small amount. During interrogation after the theft, Albert told the police that he had buried $1 million in a barrel in the backyard of his house, hearing which the police were stunned. Till now, Albert was unaware that the reason behind his arrest was none other than his Ukrainian partner and hacker Maxim, because Maxim was arrested by the police in November 2007, and when the police investigated his laptop, 2 revelations came to light. The first revelation was that his laptop contained stolen information of millions of credit cards, and the second revelation was that Maxim was constantly in contact with another hacker, and when the chat of both of them was investigated, the police came to know that the other hacker was none other than Albert. On the basis of information obtained from just one laptop, the police had arrested Albert, the leader of the world's largest credit card hacking cartel. After that, one by one, all the hackers started falling into the hands of the police. During interrogation, Albert also told the police the location of Patrick, after which the police arrested him too. When both of them returned their computers to the Federal Reserve, and when they opened them in front of the agents, they were shocked to see the data. They could hardly believe that one of their trusted informants was running such a big hacking cartel right under their noses. In this investigation, a total of 11 hackers were arrested. The court registered cases of fraud with various companies and stealing their confidential information against them. However, according to the court, the cost of this fraud was $170 million. But Albert had carried out this hacking on such a large scale that it was difficult to calculate it. Stephen, while confessing his crime, gave a statement that he had written the codes for this hacking. At the same time, he also said that he was unaware that these codes were going to be used for illegal hacking. Stephen also stated that he did not earn any money from this hacking operation of Albert, after which the court sentenced him to 2 years of imprisonment, and also asked him to return his share of $170 million. Albert changed his statement, telling the court that he regrets committing this crime. He explained that he did the hacking not for himself, but to help one of his hacker friends whose family and home conditions were not good. Before his sentence started, Albert also mentioned that he had no idea that due to his hacking, millions of people would suffer losses, and he is very ashamed of this crime. The court sentenced Patrick, the next member of the cartel, to 22 years of imprisonment, but when he agreed to cooperate with the police, his sentence was reduced to 5 years. Albert now began to understand that after Patrick's testimony, all his lies would be caught, and lying more would make things worse. So he confessed his crime and agreed to cooperate with the government. He now started telling the police every detail about how he hacked so many credit cards, but Albert's lawyer was constantly trying to minimize the damage and get the minimum punishment for Albert. Albert's lawyer submitted a medical report in court, which stated that the hacking done by Albert was due to a mental illness and addiction named Asperger's. According to Albert's lawyer, this hacking was due to internet addiction, but the court rejected this argument. Although the court sentenced Albert to life imprisonment, since he had cooperated with the court and the police, the court reduced his sentence, and on March 25, 2010, he was sent to jail for 20 years. Just a week after this sentence, The judge of this case changed and he increased Albert's sentence by another 20 years because he had hacked the Heartland Payment Company. This was a US-based payment processing company through which people's payment transactions were done. The judge also imposed a fine of $160K on Albert. Along with this fine, Albert's Miami house, one pistol, one laptop, and one note were confiscated. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.